going to apologize to everyone in attendance first and foremost for a few things I'd like to get out of the way. The first thing is, I have a master's degree in administration, school administration, and I realize when you go and speak to a group of people, you don't dress as casually as I'm dressed. I'm aware of what I'm wearing, okay, today, and I will address it with you a little bit later in the presentation. Second thing I'll apologize to everyone in attendance for is my head is very foggy. With the things that have transpired in our family and our life in the last few years, sometimes I forget where I'm at. And I don't forget where I'm at and what school I'm in or what organization I'm presenting to. I forget where I'm at in my presentation. And so I'm not a professional speaker. I'm a dad, a father that's been thrust into an absolutely terrible situation, and we're trying to make the most of that situation. So I have everything that I'm going to say today to you written out here in front of me. And you'll see me periodically look down at my notes just to remind me to stay on track so that I can make progress throughout the presentation this morning. So I will be referring to my notes, and I know as a speaker you should not do that. The third thing, presentation will probably be a little bit different. If you weren't here 2 years ago, the presentation will be a little bit different than probably any school presentation that you've ever sat through. I'm going to ask you to do a couple of things this morning for me. I'm going to ask that you give me your eyes and give me your ears so that I know that you're paying attention and getting the message that the B4 Foundation wants you to get today. Okay, I didn't take a half day off from work today from Ithaca Public Schools to come down here and lie to you, make things up, blow smoke up your skirt, that type of thing. All right, I came down here to tell you the truth. I'm going to be very, very transparent with everyone in attendance, and I hope that during this presentation we can do another thing, that we can develop some trust. And I know that's difficult because many of you in this room don't have any idea who I am. I'm hoping by the time we get through this presentation and you see how honest and transparent I'm going to be with you about what's transpired in our lives, that we will develop that trust at some point during the presentation. So if we can give you eyes and ears and then hopefully trust me. Tell you a little bit about myself, and I do this to give you a little bit of background. I retired. I was a high school football coach for many years, for 32 years in the state of Michigan. I had a chance to be the head football coach for 22 of those 32 years. I had a really, really rough start to my coaching career. I was on the west side of the state at a small school, and I was probably the youngest head football coach in the state of Michigan at the time. And I was there for 5 years. And in those 5 years, I went 2-43. Yeah, that's what I said too, many, many times over, all right? And I'm not sure, after 5 years, that school gave me my walking papers. We were the proud owners, or not so proud owners, of a 33-game losing streak. Okay, so after 5 years, that school gave me my walking papers. What took them so long, I don't have any idea, but they did, all right? And I remember speaking with my wife, talking about losing football games. And I remember talking to her about the adversity that we're facing in our family and in our marriage and our young careers and how difficult this was. We were losing football games. Well, we didn't have any idea what was to come later in our lives, unfortunately, did we? All right, so when I got let go at this school, I got a chance to have an opportunity, a dream come true opportunity. I get a chance to go back to Ithaca High School, which is where I played, which is where I graduated from, and I get a chance to learn from my old high school coach who's still there. And I get a chance to do that for nine years, I believe it was, as an assistant at Ithaca High School. And in 2004, the dream comes true. I get a chance to be the head football coach at Ithaca High School. And it's truly a dream for me and my family. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And you know what happened in my second experience as a head coach? The complete opposite of what happened the first time. The first time we had a 33-game losing streak. The second opportunity, we had a 69-game winning streak. We played in the state championship 7 times in 8 years. We went 98-2 in a 100-game span, the greatest 100-game span in Michigan high school football history in 11-man football. So why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this to brag. You don't know me very well if you think that's what it is. I'm telling you this to give you some perspective, and I'm telling you this because the B4 Foundation feels very strongly about 2 things that you are guaranteed going to experience in your life. You are going to face adversity in your life. If you haven't already, congratulations, but I apologize to you now, you're going to. And you have to learn how to deal with that adversity. The second thing, though, that you're going to experience in life is opportunity. You're going to have tremendous opportunities in your life. When you leave these halls and leave these doors and leave this school behind, and you go out into the world, you're going to have opportunities. Well, you know what we're doing in our family? We're taking the absolute worst possible adversity, tragedy that the family could experience possibly. I don't know what could be worse, to be honest. All right? And we're turning it into an opportunity. We want to make this an opportunity to possibly help someone here at Lakewood High School today, because you don't have any idea what he's going through, and you don't have any idea what she's going through, or these staff members that are standing along the sides. You don't have any idea what it is that they're going through. So our family would be easy to do what? Lay down on the floor, curl up in a ball. My wife and I do that daily. Cry like babies. We cry ourselves to sleep often. We wake up with tears in our eyes often. But we can't stay there. We can't stay on the floor. That's not going to help me. That's not going to help my wife, Christy. It's not going to bring Brady back, and it's certainly not going to help anybody else. So we're taking this adversity and going to turn it into an opportunity. That's what we think that our son Brady would want to do. And we're firm believers that how you react to what happens to you in life is going to determine your level of success, at least to some degree in your life. What does when my wife and I get up off the floor and we scrape or wipe ourselves off and clean ourselves up and go out and to the world, we go to Meijer on Sundays. My wife and I, every Sunday, we go to Meijer and we get our groceries for the week. And we go into the grocery store, and when you go to the same store the same time every week, other people have the same routine that you have. And we're in the store, and I got my cart, and we're throwing our items in the cart, and this elderly guy walks up to me, and he puts his hand on my shoulder. It's awkward. You know, when you go to Meijer, you don't expect people to touch you, right? Especially people you don't know that well. And he puts his hand on my shoulder, and he says, "Terry and Christy, God is using you to share to help people." Is that true? I don't know. I don't have any idea. I can't take the chance. And that's why we're here today, to hopefully help, if that is in fact God's plan. Now, we're going to get to the guy that we want to talk about, this guy right here. All right, Brady Hessbrook, August 19th, 2002, he was born. He is a staple at Ithaca High School practices. He was a staple at games from the time he was born. He would attend to just about every game that there ever was. And I'm going to use a timeline this morning to share our son's story so that hopefully you can follow along with the timeline. And so in 2010, Ithaca High School makes our first trip ever to Ford Field. All right, well, Ford Field's had policies down there that have been in existence probably since they opened the place that we didn't have any idea what those policies were. We had never been there. In 2010, we were playing Monroe St. Mary's Catholic Central in a very close football game, 2 minutes to go in the game, and Brady is seated in the front row with my wife, my daughter, Kelsey, front row, 50-yard line. 2 minutes to go, Brady goes to mom, says, "I got to use the bathroom." Well, my wife is a football girl. She grew up football. Her dad was a football coach. Her husband's a football coach. She's probably watched more football games and films than I have, okay? She said, "Brady, you're a smart kid. I'm not leaving. There's 2 minutes to go in the game. You go up those steps, and you go to the bathroom, come right back down those steps." Simple. He's 8 years old. He can do this, right? He's a smart kid. So Brady runs up the steps. He goes to the bathroom. He comes back, and the usher stops him cold in his tracks right there at the aisle to go down. Says, "Young man, here at Ford Field, we have a policy. And the policy is this. This game that's going on, when it ends, the spectators are allowed to exit up the steps. If you're here to watch the next game, you need to go to the end zone, work your way down to the front row, and filter your way in." And I get it. We understand the policy. Can you imagine this adult explaining this to an 8-year-old, all right, and how it went, and a little pistol running around Ford Field, all right? So we understand the policy, so you don't have total chaos of people coming down and people coming up. I understand. We get it. So away Brady goes. He goes to the end zone, down the front row, filters his way back to the 50-yard line where Mom and Kelsey are seated. But the game had ended. So Mom and Kelsey exited up the steps, just like they've been instructed to do. So for a brief moment, Brady Hessbrook is lost at Ford Field. Where is he? What does he look like? Well, he's this big, and he's got an Ithaca football shirt, right? I mean, every kid that was 8 years old had an Ithaca football shirt because that was our first trip ever to Ford Field. So about 3 weeks, we find Brady. Everything's perfectly fine. About 3 weeks pass, and I go to my wife. And my wife is a fantastic mother and an absolute amazing wife. And I say to her, "You know, if you can't keep track of our son," and I said this jokingly to her because she really is fantastic. I said, "maybe he should be on the sideline with me." And I said to her, "if we ever get to Ford Field again, he can ride the bus with us. He can be on the field with me. If we win, he can be in the picture with me. And we won't lose him." So my wife's response, "You want him?" you can have him. So you think you can go down and coach a football game and keep track of your son, all that stuff, you go right ahead. So Brady's managerial career begins in 2011. Now you guys know, you're old enough to know that when you start out something new, you don't start at the top. You start at the bottom. And in the managerial world, there's a ladder that you have to climb. You have to work your way up. Well, in 2011, Brady starts at the bottom, rightfully so. He's our manager. He's in charge of 2 black med kits that have been there since the 80s when I played. All right, I don't know if they've ever even been opened, but they got cold packs and nose plugs and pre-wrap. I don't even know what's in them, to be honest with you, but that's his job in 2011. He's the manager. Lowest rung on the ladder, and we go through and we win the state championship, undefeated back-to-back state champs. Great memories with my son at our side, unbelievable experiences, and he was on the field with us at Ford Field, and we didn't lose him. That was kind of neat. So that was 2011. 2012, he comes to me before the season, he said, Dad, I'd like to move up. You tell me about a ladder. He said, I want to move up to the next rung on the ladder. Okay, all right. So the next rung on the ladder, Brady, 2012, he's the water boy. Varsity football sideline, that's a pretty good gig. You know, you can get water, you can squirt your buddies and get them wet, you know.